All right, welcome back. Have you ever wondered why some speeches or arguments stay with you long after you've heard them? It's not always because the idea is better. Often it's because the message is delivered in a powerful way. Today, we're exploring the art of persuasion. And here's the best part. Persuasion isn't a talent you're born with. It's a skill you can learn. So that really brings us to the big question, right? In this crazy, noisy world we live in, with a million things fighting for our attention, how do you actually get people to stop and listen to what you have to say? And, you know, the answer might not be what you think. It's definitely not about being the loudest person in the room. Nope. It's about being smart, about being strategic. It's about having the right tools to build your case and really connect with people. And here's the really interesting part. Persuasion isn't a new idea. More than 2,000 years ago, the ancient Greeks developed a framework for understanding how people persuade others. And believe it or not, we still use those same ideas today. So let's open up that toolkit and see what's inside. All right, first tool out of the box, it's called pathos. And if there's just one thing you remember about this one, make it this. Pathos is all about emotion. Yeah. See, pathos doesn't aim for the brain, it aims straight for the heart. The whole point is to make your audience feel something. We're talking pity, fear, happiness, anger, you name it. It's all about forging that emotional connection with your message. See how effective that is? There are no stats, no expert opinions, nothing like that. It just paints a picture in your mind and suddenly you feel that pang of empathy, that urge to help. Whoa, this is pathos at its most powerful. Patrick Henry isn't talking about a small political disagreement. Instead, he uses vivid images of slavery and future generations judging their parents to stir fear, urgency, and a sense of responsibility. He's appealing to his audience's emotions to inspire action. So here's the key takeaway. Pathos creates an emotional connection and gives people a reason to care. Those emotions can inspire people to pay attention, remember your message, and even take action. But emotion alone isn't always enough to persuade someone. That's where our next tool comes in. Okay, next up in our toolkit, we've got ethos. So if pathos was all about the heart, think of ethos as the appeal to trust. This one is all about credibility and character. I mean, think about it. Why should anyone listen to you? Ethos is the answer to that question. It's how you show people you're trustworthy, that you know what you're talking about. It's you proving, hey, I have the authority or I have the moral character to be the one talking about this. Here's a perfect example you see all the time. You automatically trust the message because you trust the messenger, right? That phrase, 20 years of experience, isn't just a random detail. It's a direct signal of authority and expertise. This is a subtle but powerful use of ethos. Notice what Martin Luther King Jr. is doing. He isn't listing his achievements or explaining why he's qualified. Instead, he builds credibility by showing that he understands his audience's struggles. That shared understanding establishes him as a leader people can trust. So why does ethos matter? Because before people accept your message, they need a reason to trust the person delivering it. Strong evidence and powerful emotions can help, but credibility makes people more willing to listen in the first place. That's why ethos is such an important part of persuasion. And that brings us to the third and final tool in our persuasion toolkit, logos. This one is all about logic, reason, and those cold, hard facts. So with logos, you're not aiming for the heart anymore. You're aiming for the head. You're building your case piece by piece with facts, stats, solid evidence, and just clear, rational arguments. You're appealing directly to their sense of reason. This is a classic example of logos. The phrase studies show immediately signals that the argument is based on evidence rather than personal opinion. It encourages the audience to see the claim as something that can be supported with facts and research. Let's go back to Patrick Henry for a moment because he uses logos really effectively too. He isn't relying on emotion alone. By listing everything the colonists have already tried, petitions, protests, and peaceful appeals, he builds a clear chain of reasoning. His argument is simple. If all of these peaceful efforts have failed, then it's time to consider a different approach. That's the power of logos. Each point builds on the one before it, making the conclusion feel logical and well supported. Logos makes your argument feel solid, airtight, almost undeniable. It's the intellectual backbone that supports your emotional appeals and your credibility. Okay, so we've looked at all three tools, pathos, ethos, and logos, one by one. But the real magic, the real genius is when you see them all woven together. Just listen to this. We gather here today to honor those we've lost. Think of the families left behind, their hearts broken. Statistics show that if we act now, we can reduce such tragedies by 30%. As someone who's worked in community safety for 15 years, I assure you, change is within our reach. Did you see how all three tools were just deployed right there? Okay, let's break that down. Think of the families left behind. That's pure pathos, right? Hits you right in the heart. Then statistics show a 30% reduction. Boom, there's your logos, giving you a logical reason to get on board. And finally, the 15 years of experience, that's classic ethos, building trust in the speaker. And there you have it. That's the toolkit. These are the key ingredients for persuasion that have been working for literally thousands of years. So let's do a quick recap. Pathos appeals to emotion, the heart. Ethos appeals to credibility, the trust. And logos appeals to logic, the mind. Heart, trust, mind. Look, once you understand these tools, it changes everything. Not only can you become way more persuasive yourself, but you also become a much smarter, more critical listener. So I'll leave you with one final question. Where do you think you'll spot these persuasive appeals first? Maybe in an advertisement, a speech, a social media post, or even your next classroom discussion. Keep your eyes and your mind open. Thank you for watching.
If you'd like more personalized feedback, writing support, and discussion sessions, they're available with me or with our selected tutors. All the details are here.